my name is Leslie Kent, and we will be giving a speech on the 1999 NASA Mars Climate Orbiter. On December 11th, 1998, NASA launched the NASA Mars Climate Orbiter, also known as NMCO. According to NASA, the main goal of the mission was to orbit Mars as the first interplanetary weather satellite and provide a communications relay from the MPL, also known as the Mars Polar Lander, which was due to reach Mars in December 1999. In layman's terms, the orbiter was to detect water on Mars, weather, and climate. The project began in 1993 when NASA started the Mars Surveyor program to explore Mars. Lockheed Martin Astronautics, also known as LMA, was the chosen contractor for the mission. As contractors, their duty was to design the spacecraft, have test flights, launch as well as project management, and collecting data. The design of the 1999 NMCO was 2 meters tall, 1.5 meters wide, and 2 meters deep, weighing in at over 700 pounds. The material of the orbiter consisted mainly of graphite and aluminum, and a three-panel solar array, which measured 5.5 meters in length. The total cost of the mission was over $328 million. Okay, the NASA Mars Climate Orbiter Mishap Investigation Board Phase 1 report made in November 10, 1989 reported 8 contributing causes to the orbiter being lost in space, with the main cause being failure to use the metric units instead of the U.S. customary system, incorrect mismodeling used in trajectories. Catherine will now talk about the specifics in communication that occurred. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Catherine, and I'll be speaking to you about how communication failed in this mission. Lockheed Martin was the engineering team in charge of designing and building the orbiter. Their role was to calculate the momentum needed for the spacecraft to travel while in space. This is called impulse, which is a measure of force per time. Now, Lockheed is an American company, so they're used to using English units. When calculating the momentum, they used inches, feet, and pounds, their final unit of impulse being in pound-seconds. Now, NASA is also an American company. However, they also work internationally with space programs in other countries. To ensure that their data is the same across the board, they use the metric system, which comprises of centimeters, kilometers, and newtons. When they were using the data sent by Lockheed, they had assumed that Lockheed had already converted it into metric units, assuming that the final units were in newton seconds instead. To see how much of a difference this makes, here's the conversion. 1 pound of force is equal to 4.5 newtons of force, meaning that NASA had overestimated the amount of force they were using to get the orbiter into the trajectory that they wanted. This figure from National Instruments shows that the teams intended for the orbiter to fly at an altitude of 226 kilometers from the surface of Mars. However, it flew within 57 kilometers instead. NASA had previously determined that the spacecraft would only be able to survive at altitudes higher than 80 kilometers due to dangerous conditions on Mars' surface. Assumptions should not be made, as they are a barrier to good communication. They can lead to confusion and wrong ideas, since people are jumping to conclusions, so the message is not sent or received clearly. It's always best to clarify and to ensure that you and the person you're communicating with is on the same page. Now Matt will conclude with the benefits and downfalls of good and poor communication.
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm going to be going over the pros and cons of good and bad communication, respectively. Reasons why communication can help us. It brings us together and allows each person to explain how they feel. And that's basically why communication was invented. Humans may have intrapersonal communication, which is similar to reflective thinking, and this helps us become well-adjusted in society and deals with basic instincts like eating when you are hungry. Interpersonal communication builds relationships, maintains relationships, and ends relationships. This is important because relationships are something that we deal with every day. Humans are group communicators, which can help complete a shared goal, which otherwise you could not use without communication. Public communication is another reason communication can help us. In public communication, one person can share an idea with a whole group, and that leads us to mass communication, which is another good reason of communication. In mass communication, an idea can be transmitted to reach a wider audience. And we communicate with different cultures now using this. Technology has developed further in recent years, which allows communication to be more widespread. And communication meets physical, relational, identity, and instrumental needs. Now to our reasons why communication can hurt us. The different metric systems in the 1999 Mars orbiter is one reason, and here are some others. Communication can be more complex than we realize, and there are rules and norms as well as ethical implications every time we talk and communicate. And not knowing these rules and norms and ethical implications, we may hurt someone's feelings without realizing it, or make a mistake like the metric system.